73 years ago, today, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, or the UDHR, in commemoration of the historical milestone on the International Human Rights Day. On behalf of the United Nations country team in Mongolia and in my own capacity as the UN Resident Coordinator in Mongolia, I extend my warm greetings to all people of Mongolia. Mongol Chod Bair Hurkiya. This year's Human Rights Day theme relates to equality and Article 1 of the UDHR. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. While the language of the Universal Declaration is very simple, the message is very strong. It envisions a world where nations foster friendly and peaceful relations with each other, where people enjoy a better standard of life, and where there is universal respect for human rights. Importantly, it also sets out what those fundamental human rights are. The principles of equality and non-discrimination are at the heart of human rights. Equality, inclusion, and non-discrimination, in other words, a human rights-based approach to development, is the best way to reduce inequalities and resume our path towards realizing the 2030 Agenda. Rampant poverty, emerging inequalities, and structural discrimination are human rights violations and amongst the greatest global challenges, not only in Mongolia at this time, but around the world. Addressing them effectively requires measures grounded in human rights, renewed political commitment, and participation of all those, especially those most affected. Human rights, including economic, social, and cultural rights, as well as the right to development and the right to a safe, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment, are central to building a new human rights-based economy that supports better, fairer, and more sustainable societies for the present and for the future generations. A human rights-based economy should be the foundation of a new social contract. As you all know, that this is a critical year as Mongolia celebrates the 60th anniversary of its membership in the United Nations and the 20th anniversary of the establishment of an independent national human rights organization in Mongolia. Also, the UN in Mongolia and the government of Mongolia has been developing new United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, or the UNSDCF, or CF in brief, which will be valid from 2023 to 2027 for the next 5 years for Mongolia. The UN Mongolia's new cooperation framework must deliver tangible development results for the people of Mongolia, and therefore the new cooperation framework must be aligned to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, Mongolia's international obligations, as well as Mongolia's development priorities through Vision 2050, but grounded in human rights. We look forward to working with the government of Mongolia, the National Human Rights Commission in Mongolia, and other stakeholders to implement the new cooperation framework here in Mongolia, with the emphasis of development cooperation with the government and the partners rather than a development assistance that we have been doing in the past. On the international stage, Mongolia has been a strong voice for protecting human rights and advancing democratic values. Therefore, I invite all the people of Mongolia in reflecting on how we can all advance this important cause so that we can further build a safer, fairer, and more equal world for everyone. Thank you for being part of the International Human Rights Day. Baitla Sansakni Hosi.